Okay.
That very good. Thank you so much, Marcy, for all your help with this. So calling the Franklin County IDA board meeting to order. Welcome everyone, and when we do voting, we will take a first and a second, and then Maria will do the roll call. So I was wondering if there's any public comments before we enter into the rest of the meeting. Okay. I didn't get anything pre-submitted. So I imagine Jeremy or Maria, you haven't either.
No.
Nope.
All right, so we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the April 15th meeting.
I make a motion to approve it. Rod Lozon.
I'll second. Dave Yando.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. Sherry Boye,
Yes.
Did you say something?
Jim Ellis,
Yes.
Stephen Urban,
Yes.
Rod Lozon,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee,
Yes.
David Yando.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any bills and communications?
Nope.
Committee reports?
No, not for IDA.
Treasurer's report?
I don't, you have the treasurer's report in the packet. I don't have any comments about it.
Entertain a first and a second to bring it to the table.
I'll move. Steve?
Second, Rod Lozon.
Any other discussion or questions?
Okay, all in favor, Sherry Boye, Jim Ellis,
Yes.
Steve Urban,
Yes.
Rod Lozon,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee,
Yes.
Dave Yando,
Yes.
and Sherry has responded yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Old unfinished business? Nothing?
Nope.
So, new business, the only thing we have is potential executive session for the purpose of discussing the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property. I think, as Jeremy suggested earlier, we could recess the IDA meeting, and because the LDC has an executive session as well. So are there anything else before we move ahead with that?
Motion to recess, Jim Ellis.
I'll second. Dave Yando.
Right. So we will recess the IDA meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Call the roll.
EJ, I'm going to put you in the waiting room now. And when we're out
Okay,
of
very-
executive
No, no.
session, I can let you back in.
Okay, very good.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Maria.
We're not going into executive session.
Oh, right. Yes.
Okay, roll Sherry Boye on recessing the meeting. This is for Sherry Boye,
Yes.
Jim Ellis,
Yes.
Steve Urban,
Yes.
Rod Lozon,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee,
Yes.
Dave Yando.
Yes.
Hey, we're in recess.
Okay, so Marcy, you can let EJ back in because we're going to push the IDA executive session till later when we do LDC executive session.
Back to back. Okay.
Sorry about that. I should have clarified that.
EJ, welcome back. We're doing our executive session a little later.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry about that, EJ. All right, so we will call to order the LDC board meeting. Are there any public comments or questions? We have the same participants as we did in the IDA meeting. So we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the April 15th and April 29th meetings.
I make a motion to approve it. Rod Lozon.
Second,
Also-
Archie.
Okay, and I have Sherry Boye,
Yes.
Jim Ellis,
Yes.
Steve Ehrman,
Yes.
Rod Lozon,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee,
Yes.
David Dando,
Yes.
all in favor.
Aye.
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 Okay, bills and communications, anything?
No,
Committee reports?
none.
Okay, that takes us to the treasurer's report.
You have the treasurer's report in front of you, and I don't have any additional comments.
Okay. We have a first and a second to bring it to the table.
I'll make a motion to bring it to the table. Rod Lozon.
I'll second.
Dave Yando.
Okay, I've got Rod with the motion, Dave to second. Here we go. Sherry Boye,
Yes.
Jim Ellis,
Yes.
Steve Ehrman,
Yes.
Rod Lozon,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee,
Yes.
David Dando.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Can someone let Andrea in from the waiting room?
She's not the person in the waiting room. She emailed and said she tried and couldn't get in, so
Okay,
not
sorry.
her in the waiting room.
All right. Any old unfinished business?
Yes, I should have mentioned this in the IDA meeting also, but it applies to all three of our agencies. Wanted to remind everybody that we were able to get all of our required reports in to ABO. They're due on March 31st. I think we have 12 reports. I think we had 10 of them in by March 31st, something like that. We had a couple issues with getting information from our either CDC or IDA clients, because that was right at the heart of when pandemic hit and people were transitioning to working from home. I just want to express my appreciation for Maria for all the effort she puts in, a ton of time on those every year, and in it the work continues throughout the year, but and then at that time it's such a crunch because we're doing the audit. We have to do the audit report, which you guys approved, and then we have these other reports: an annual report, procurement report, investment report, and it's a ton of work. And under normal circumstances, but this year, as we're literally moving everyone to home and trying to still access information and get information from other people who are moving work to their home, it was a little trying, but she got it done, and just wanted to publicly express appreciation. I presume I can do it on behalf of the entire board. or pushing through that in some unusual circumstances.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
good.
thanks,
Thank you.
Maria.
Thanks.
Good. Thank you. So we'll, that'll move us to our new business for the LDC.
Yeah, the only new business is I was hoping to share some thoughts with the board about just kind of looking at our strategic situation in light of the pandemic and what that means for us, what we should be thinking about. And so I'm going to share my screen and then just work through that a little bit. I shared it for those of you board members not on the who can't see the screen. I emailed it to you earlier so that you can follow along. I'll try to. We don't have time. You don't have the patience for me to read every word on the slides. That's why I emailed it to you. So let me. Oh, say that again.
What is it labeled, Jeremy?
It is labeled. It's labeled 5/13/20 strategic plan update.
Okay, great.
Okay. So let me share my screen and then I'll go through it. I'll try to go through it quickly, and that way if there's certain aspects of this that you'd like to ask questions about or dive into a little bit, we can focus on what you're interested in. This is your meeting. Marcy, I need permission to be able to share my screen.
Okay. I believe you have it. What's it saying?
Host disabled participant screen sharing. So
I'm gonna.
it doesn't have me listed as a host, so I can't share my
Can you
screen.
try now?
Yes, thank you. Can everybody see this?
Mhm.
Thumbs up. Okay. So we've been. I think all of us have been personally, professionally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, with ends trying to make sense of this new reality that we find ourselves in. And as an organization, as a staff, we've been going full bore trying to react to it, understand the impact of the pandemic on our businesses and our communities, trying to engage with businesses, understand what they're going through, trying to figure out how we can help, helping in some ways that I think are meaningful to those individual businesses. But I think it's important to also take a step out, up 40,000 feet and look at how this is affecting us as an organization and what do we need to do to adapt, change, etc. So I've been just thinking about that over the last couple of weeks and just wanted to share some of my thoughts with you about it. But as I did this, I realized that I kept kind of looking back before looking forward. And so I thought I would just share for everyone's benefit where we are today, and then look at, well, where do we go from here in light of these unprecedented times. So for the last several years, I would point to 2016, before I arrived, being kind of a linchpin time period. The legislature and the board of directors have, working together, been putting the pieces together to transform economic development in Franklin County. And where we are today, I think you can point a lot to those decisions and priorities made by those two boards starting in 2016 and then continuing to this day. We've been focused on the economic development strategy and using that as the base, as the foundation for what we do and why. And specifically, we've been trying to build the capacity for economic development. We've been focusing on the people and the communities of Franklin County, turning inward and making sure those constituents are more of a focus. And then building a smart plan for business attraction that's realistic and meaningful and more of a sharpshooter approach rather than a shotgun approach to business attraction. And just trying to become a professional economic development organization. One of the first goal of SEDS is to build their economic development capacity. And again, you can look to 2016. I think that's when the legislature created the Office of Economic Development, which I think was just a tremendous leap forward. They took the risk, they did it, they hired Russ, and it's not something that's been part of what Franklin County has been engaged in for a long time. And I think that was a good leap forward. I was fortunate enough to come on in 2017, just about 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago. And what a tremendous opportunity it's been. So if you recall, for those who were here on the board, at the beginning of 2017, you had one staff person. Now, albeit that staff person, Maria, is pretty darn capable. She's an army of one, right? Today, the Franklin County IDA LDC has 6 full-time staff people. So we're building the capacity. And there's a lot that goes into building capacity, but as far as I'm concerned, the most important part of building capacity when it comes to economic development are the people. And what a great team we have. I don't know why we couldn't get Russ to smile when we took this picture, but I know that he can smile and he smiles a lot. But it's a great team. There's an adage in economic development. Some of you probably heard it many times over, like Steve. Economic development is a contact sport. So technology, data, property, there's all these things that are the tools and components of economic development, but at its heart, it remains a contact sport, and where personal relationships are and the creativity of real human beings is the most important asset that you can have. And kudos to the legislature and the IDA Board of Directors recognizing this and supporting this as a priority for us. I wanted to just go through a couple of those bread and butter things that are important to us as an agency. Like these are what are the fundamental activities we should be engaged in? How are we doing? Well, as far as the IDA is concerned and our tax incentive programs, it's been a busy place in the past 10 years, right? With some pretty large infrastructure and renewable energy projects. Since then, we've had two smaller projects, and they've been pretty exciting. One was the MCM development, provided sales tax exemption to that project. Downtown revitalization project, something that the Franklin County IDA at least has not been involved in. Pretty cool. And then the Oya solar project just last summer, which is a small community solar project in town of Constable. We made a huge upgrade to our uniform tax exemption policy that will be both more business friendly and also is in compliance with state law. We had an outdated UTEP that was not in compliance with state law, and now we are. Administration, there's been when you go from 1 to 6 people and you expand what you're trying to accomplish, it comes with a lot of administrative opportunities, headaches, bumps along the road. We could go on for hours about that. But one thing I wanted to point out, or I was reminded by one of our team that we should point out, are things that we've never done before. That to many would seem obvious, but it just wasn't in the wheelhouse of the IDA, at least in recent history. We started investing in CDs. Instead of just having all of our cash in the bank, collecting pretty much no interest, we've been investing in CDs. And it seems like a simple thing, but the results are real dollars added to our balance sheet that we'll then be able to leverage to do things in our community. There's a lot of different little things like this that add up. Loans, there were, prior to 2017, there hadn't been a loan issued with the LDC in many years. And now, look at the results. Almost $700,000 loaned out. That 8 loans given for a variety of different types of businesses. There's big, there's small, there's everything in between. And I want to credit Maria and Russ, especially lately, on the work they're doing to streamline our process, get our guidelines updated, and also the loan committee for taking on the responsibility of doing approvals in accordance with our loan guidelines for small projects. This stuff's making a difference, and it's not something that we were doing previously. Grants aren't something that the IDA has traditionally had a strong role in, and you can I get lost. Sometimes I don't remember. You get lost in the weeds of the day-to-day activities. But when you start putting the numbers together, it's pretty significant. Just in the last couple of years, we've been awarded $1.6 million in grants, and that will leverage, by the time it's all said and done, an additional $1.6 million. This is real money in our communities that we've brought from outside. And it's not just us, because these grants most of these grants are going to other business owners and property owners. And so it's a team effort, but we've made it a priority to go after these grants, administer them, and get them out into our community. And it's pretty exciting. Property management, we have the incredible fortune of having a building in Bombay, properties in Bombay that are just not not the greatest. They've been sitting vacant forever. Nobody even know, I don't even know how long, 20 years? Nothing's happened with them. Nothing. But we've had some good ideas on how to move forward with that. But in the meantime, we were able to rent a portion of the Bombay factory, which has been empty for 20 years, to Tim McCarthy, where he built a custom net zero home. And, it may not seem like a big thing, and maybe it's not, but it was a need that we were able to help him with. And hey, it's better than the last 20 years. The Gleaning Warehouse, managed by JCEO, was a public relations disaster for the IDA and JCEO several years ago. But the two organizations came together last year and figured out how to come to a great result that benefits both organizations and the community in a big way. So again, hats off to you as a board for supporting that effort. So yeah, that's what we've been working on. Building capacity, becoming a professional economic development organization, making sure we spend more time on the businesses and the communities and the people that are already here and already invested in our county. These were our goals for 2020 that we talked about a few months ago. And I'll go through this part quickly. You have it and you can take a look at it. But what I did was just go through each one and kind of did a stoplight color status for each. So if you look at economic climate and capacity, here are the projects that we had identified to work on. And only one of those, there was a small strategic plan, action plan that we could have had funded through a Department of State grant that was due right as the pandemic hit. And we just decided that we had to put time elsewhere into our businesses. But other than that, all of these other activities are still relevant and we still need to be working on them. Building entrepreneurial culture, same thing. We had a plan to apply for a microenterprise grant through the CFA, but we have no idea when the CFA process will be announced because we're in a different time. So we'll see. That's just on hold. Everything else we have to and need to do, and it's all still relevant. Downtown revitalization, similar. There's a couple projects we've been talking to the Village of Malone about helping them with, but just about everything else is still going strong. It doesn't mean there aren't things that we are trying to adjust to because of the pandemic, but these are not things that we can or should just put on hold or put aside. Tourism, our contract with the county is suspended because they realized that they couldn't continue as is the way the contract was written when they're facing such financial uncertainty. And I trust that that's going to resolve itself and will resume in some capacity. But in the meantime, there's other activities that we are still working on related to tourism. And administration, a lot of these activities were planned for about this time, starting later on this year. The first half of the year is always super busy with reporting and other things that I already mentioned. What does that mean? I wanted to put this slide up. It's already out of date, but I just wanted to remind everybody of the activities we've been involved in over the last, whatever it is now, 8 weeks, trying to provide information to our business community, having direct outreach, direct conversations with businesses. And we're continuing that. And it's both an opportunity that we are happy to be engaged in. We're not happy about the circumstances, but we're happy to be able to be there for our businesses and talk to them and hear their concerns, hear what's going well, what's going not so well, and anything in between. And we will continue it. And just those activities on the right are some of the things that we're doing to be responsive to the situation. And we've talked a lot about these already. So what does this mean? Again, the seeds for where we are today were planted in 2016 and 2017. And because of that commitment made by the two organizations and the efforts we've been all engaged in as a team, both boards, staff, we are in a good position to be able to be responsive to our businesses and constituents as we enter the next phase of this crisis. And I would just point out that a lot of the activities that we are engaged in are just as relevant, or if not more relevant today than they were pre-pandemic. I spend a lot of time listening to webinars, podcasts, reading in the economic development world, how different organizations are adapting to the situation. Many, many, many. The word that I keep hearing over and over is pivoting, pivoting, pivoting. Or economic development organizations across the country are pivoting. They might have been, many of them were far more focused on business attraction, going in industry or manufacturing or back office functions and bringing them into the region. It's an important function, but many regions were singularly focused on that. And at least for some period of time, most of these organizations are pivoting and turning inward to try to be more supportive to the businesses that are already in their community. So that's the buzzword: pivot, turn inward. Where does that leave us? Well, because of the efforts that we have all made as a team between the county, the IDA, and the priorities we've had because of the SEDS, we've already been turning inwards. We started pivoting 3 years ago, and everybody else is starting to do it now. Puts us in a good position to be more relevant and more helpful than many other organizations will be for their communities. So what do we do next? This is the last slide. What do we do next? Well, because of this, there's a lot that we just need to keep doing. It's still relevant. Doesn't mean we don't adapt. It doesn't mean the time periods don't extend for trying to get things done. We have to be sensitive to the reality, but a lot of what we're doing is as important now as it was 2 months ago. Most importantly, though, I think we need to be able to be ready to adapt and respond because we don't know what's coming next. Nobody does. We're in a marathon, not a sprint. And to think that we know exactly what we should do for the next 6 months, year, 2 years as a result of the pandemic is foolish. We don't know. I think the message I want to leave, and I think we would all agree, is we just need to be ready. We need to see what comes, be on top of things, react, build new programs, undertake new initiatives, whatever it might be, to react as we understand how this all unfolds so that we can be of maximum value to the people, the businesses, and the communities of Franklin County.
Good.
That's it.
Nice presentation.
Any questions or thoughts?
I've got a thought. And this is kind of one of those middle of the night thoughts. And I agree with Jeremy that maybe right now our most important job is to help and support the businesses that have already decided to locate in Franklin County. But the COVID-19 epidemic may have pointed out something that we have always had and has never been a marketing tool or something that you might think is attractive, and that is nothing. You look at all the reports of the COVID-19 impact on cities, densely populated areas. It seems to thrive much more there. We're in the North Country. We have avoided that simply because we don't have the same number of people. Our density, our population density is nowhere near as high. And maybe this lack of density might be something that corporations or businesses might be looking to escape to. get out of the densely populated areas and maybe move to an area like the North Country that we have here, Franklin County, that is less populated, and they can make their employees safer. So I don't
Thanks,
know how
Archie.
I don't know how you market nothing, but that might be an asset that we have right now.
I love it. Market nothing. That's great. If we can figure that out, then we will be marketing geniuses. I will say this: we have been working. It's been a priority. It's not new to the board. We've been working on developing the tools and tools to be more effective marketing and communications agency for all of our potential customers, whether it is the people and the businesses that are already here, making sure they're aware of what we offer, also attract, the business attraction. So those who are outside, who we may be able to attract to the area, but also residents who, potential residents, residents we would hope to attract for whatever the reason, location, quality of life, etc. And so we've been working on that, but over the last few weeks, we've been really realizing that we need to accelerate that work. And so stay tuned on that, because we are going to be accelerating it for those reasons. And that, at this point, it's important to be very sensitive of the situation we're in and the fears and concerns that people have about the transmission of the disease. But I do think you're right, Archie, that there's a certain qualitative aspect to living here that some folks may find attractive, and it's a matter of sharing that in a way at the right time and in the right way that's sensitive. But that's why you think through that stuff and then do it. So thanks for bringing that up.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeremy. Good job.
Well,
Any other-
and if I may, very related, just quickly on this, on the marketing side of things, and it's an administrative task that's been on our list for a while also, is wanted to just mention that we're going to immediately start looking at our mission statements for our 3 agencies. They're as vanilla can be. Like I can't even, they're not very descriptive of who we are, especially when we have 3 different agencies and we're trying to work as one. So we're going to be taking a look at our mission statements. I've talked to Justice and Jim about this, and with Justice's kind of recommendation, we're going to be asking the governance committee to help us work through a little exercise to look at our mission statements and come up with something that better describes our foundation of who we are and what we're trying to do. So stay tuned for that also.
Good.
Very good. Thank you. So the only other new business we have is an anticipated executive session for the purpose of discussing the financial history of a particular person or corporation. So we'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. Then we will come back after that, and we'll have to do the executive session for the IDA as well.
So procedurally, what this means, EJ, is that We'll have our 2 executive sessions and have to adjourn both when we come out of executive session. We don't anticipate any further discussion or actions taken. So you will be put into the waiting room, and you're certainly welcome to wait there until we come out of executive session, or you can just hang up. It's completely up to you. I just wanted to let you know what the procedure is going to be.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. If you're not going to take any actions, I'll probably just hang up. And if you do end up doing something, just let me know, please.
That sounds good. Yep. Sure thing.
All right, thanks.
Oh, there he is. I was going to designate Jim to
Sorry.
carry us through with a motion
We
to
have-
go into executive session.
Do we have the first and second to go into executive session?
Rod Lozon, I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll yield
Gotta
to
get my
Dave.
big red button going here.
Need a second.
I'll second. Steve.
Okay. Sherry Boye,
Yes.
Jim Ellis,
Yes.
Steve Ehrman,
Yes.
Rod Lozon,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Archie McKee,
Yes.
Dave Yando.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, so what we'll do now is that Maria and Marcy will leave, and then I will push pause on the recording as long as I can do that. Which I'm not sure if I can do that.
You have co-host ability, so you should be able to. Do you see it on the bottom or the top of your screen?
It says recording.
Put a location on the bottom of the top of your screen.
And I can leave the meeting. If I click the record button, it says record, so that's not it. Well, I think what we could do, Marcy, is that you can push stop recording.